Love Lemon True Crime, Mama D in the house, and oh my golly. So, there's all kinds of different channels. There's those that like to get on there and you get to visit with everybody for an hour or two and so forth, and you learn some details, and it's camaraderie. It's wonderful. I enjoyed those channels too. There are other channels that bring you just a little clip, just a little snippet of something that's going on in the case. I love those channels. And then there's channels like myself where I just come on and cover something when I find something worth my attention, and I just want to be direct and blunt and get to the point. And I don't want to be on here for hours because I have other things to do. So there's all different ways to share information. I'm going to slip my slippers off and pull my little blanket up because it's freezing in here. I hope everybody's well. Hi, Gina M. I like a shine. Laura Holler. Nick UK. What am I doing? Okay. Nina, good to see everybody. Hi, Rage, Greeneville. Nook. My Nick UK is Nook. I'm missing my Jennifer Swain. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to call her. He's the Mudger. Hey, Laura. Cree Designs here. I heard a lot of the Idaho 4 docs drop, so I might peek into that. I don't know. I might. Hey, Willow's mama. Good to see you. You love all my lives as they are not 5 hours long and to the point. You know me, I'm always spinning. I'm just saying. All right, so talking about getting to the point, we're going to be covering Summer Wells' case today. It's kind of like a giant ball of yarn. Okay, my eye is itching. Just give me a minute. It's like a ball of fishing twine or yarn, and there's like all these rabbit holes that we all fall into because there's so many incredible layers. So I thought, you know what? I need to peel the layers back. I just need to get to the root, and I've been very focused for a week or so on something that just from the very beginning never left me. I think we've all had that moment, including Chris McDonough, and other creators where we're like, that means something. It means something. So I dug into it, and the further I went, I was like, what in the actual hell is going on here? I know Don Wells lies. You and I both know he spins that yarn, right? He gets it rolling, and then the next thing you know, he's on his, I love Jesus kick, and then you can't question him. But I feel there's a point to where even if Don Wells does stretch the truth and lie, there's a few things, just a very few, that he just has no reason or would even think to lie about it. Like, why would he? It wouldn't even, And so then it puts the other person in question. And in this case, it's the eyewitness to the very first minutes that this all blew up, which is that moment where Don Wells is been notified, he's come home, he knows Summer is missing, he's been on Facebook Messenger or whatever you want to call it with Candace the whole time, blah, blah, blah. And we all know, and we've all paused at that moment where he does not go to his own house, the last known place of Summer at all. He bypasses the driveway and he goes out to that little shed, that Breaking Bad shed out there near the cotton blind where the tree trimmers are cutting. And we've all been like, hold on a minute. We all ask, what's the deal, Pickle? I got to get some lotion, y'all. I was doing all kinds of stuff today and a lot of water. And my hands are just dry and I'm freezing. So he passes his own driveway. He drives the red Subaru, which is their newest nice car, past the braking, turns into, as he's turning, he says, we turned here, I turned here, I turned here. So he's with someone. And then he gets up in there and he's near the cotton blind with the car, way up in the field area, right, where the weeds are up to above the headlights. And he gets out of the vehicle and he's like, I saw my boy. So we're down off the property, off the hill. House is way up on the hill, right? And we're down here near the Breaking Bad shed. Some people call it garage. I call it a Breaking Bad shed. It looks scary. All right? Just going to say it. Tree trimmers are cutting through there. Okay. Don is claiming that he gets out of the vehicle. He looks over to his right, and there are his boys. Now, we've already listened to Candace, the grandmother that was there on the property that day. She has stated that she sent the boys down there. So this makes sense. Everything with Don's checking out. He sees all three of the boys and even goes into too much detail that of course they're all together because they're never ever apart. They're always taught and trained to, stay together, blah, blah, blah. It depends on what interview you listen to him on. But this whole thing has been stated by Don over and over through so many interviews. He did the same interview with Cher as he did with McDonough and other creators. And the story is always the same. He pulls up there. He gets out of the vehicle. He also uses we again. He says he uses the word us, right? So as he's turning to the Breaking Bad shed, he says, we turned here. Oh, I turned here. Now he's out of the vehicle and he says, he's talking to Cher on the Voices Behind the Wall, and he says, us. The neighbors heard us screaming, and then he's like, I wasn't there. So we know he was there. But then, after he sees the three boys, we know how the story rolls. He looked over and... You can almost finish my sentence because it's been there from the very start of the case. Don states he saw his neighbor, and that's when he knew something was very, very wrong. And I've always been like, who the heck is this neighbor? Well, we've got that. We've got that. Some of us knew. I didn't. I wasn't one that knew until recently that the neighbor was not Andy. The neighbor was not Fred. The neighbor was not Jody Sue. In fact, technically, it wasn't a neighbor at all. This gets wild. So when he sees this individual, okay, keep in mind, Don Wells has been on the phone with 911, and he's done this breakneck speed home. He's done a 40-minute trip in 20 minutes. He's busting his balls to get home because Summer's missing, and he's already called 911. They're on their way. But when he sees the neighbor is when something is very, very wrong. He also describes it as his heart sank because he knew she was gone. How can seeing a neighbor make your heart sink so much? How could seeing a neighbor, if your kid is missing, give you all the answers to know that the child is gone? Whether Don means gone like forever, like passed over, or gone like missing, either way, I'm like, who the hell is this neighbor, right? I know, Greeneville, these cases make you want to scream. Hey, Kimberly, good to see you. Scream. We're going to be talking about that scream. Hey, Rach, not that Rach. LA Designs, welcome back. Good to see you. It's been a hot minute, right? Allison, lovely, I've got your order. I packed it up. It's ready to go out tomorrow as soon as the post opens. Hey, Bette Smith, good to see you. So, you guys... let's dig into this. Put my lotion back. Something is very, very wrong with what I found out. Turns out that neighbor is Don and Sherfy. Don Sherfy. All right. You think maybe you've heard that name before, or you definitely know you heard that name before, or you think that this has been something debunked and blah, 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 blah. Listen, lovelies. The man, Don Sherfy, first of all, doesn't live in the neighborhood. But Don talks about Don Sherfy and even says, one of the best neighbors I've ever had. We're not friends or anything, but he's a really good neighbor. Turns out that that's his girlfriend's mother's place. It's his girlfriend's mother's place. Even if the girlfriend lives there, he doesn't. He makes that clear. He doesn't live there. So how is he a neighbor, one? And two, did you know that his son, the month before Summer went missing, not even a full month, just the month before, in May, Summer goes missing in June, in May, his adult son is arrested and charged with 4 counts of don't do that to kids. Yeah, like, you can dig into all the details, but it's soliciting online. Youngins, all right? But they didn't keep the man. He got a bond. He was released on bond. So he's not held. So it makes me wonder, like, okay, what's the father doing over there at the very minute that Summer goes missing? Now he'll admit he heard the scream, like Jody Sue heard a scream. He's going to tell us he heard a scream out of his own mouth, that he heard screams. But yet, he's going to turn around on another call and he's going to tell you, even though Dawn has preached it from day one, and that's the one thing that I might trust Dawn on, is that he saw his neighbor, because his heart fell into his stomach and he knew she was gone. That was one statement. Another, and he felt sick from it. It made him like ill. Like he knew she was gone, so he just left and went up to the house. Why seeing Dawn, Sherfy would give Dawn Wells that? I don't get that. Another thing is, this Don Sherfy, not only is he not a neighbor, but he'll tell you himself he's good friends with Ronnie Lawson, in charge of the investigation here at Hawkins County. What? He's good friends with Ronnie Lawson, who's in charge of this case. Also, he served as a bailiff, I believe a bailiff, or something along that lines, in the police department himself, Don Sherfy. I've always wondered if there was somebody covering for somebody. Like, was it somebody in that whole Hawkins County that, like, really liked the suspect and covered? And now we've got movement happening in the Summer Wells case, where we have an investigation going on over there at 3500 block of Van Hill, right? But it didn't come, that investigation or any investigation, nothing was being done for years. But now, see, politically, I think there's movement in the case because Ronnie Lawson is retiring and there's a changing of the guard. And in the changing of the guard, FBI has stepped in and is over here on the 3500 block of Van Hill looking at an old man's property. Doesn't mean it's him. Certainly doesn't. Named Paul Hill. Because the public had access to Paul Hill's property. Wonder who else had access. Anyway, so even if Dawn has lied and lied and lied, at what point did Dawn decide to just randomly choose Don Sherfy to say he physically laid eyes on him down there at the Breaking Bad shed where the tree cutters are, and then that his heart sank and he knew right then, right that second, seeing that neighbor, that she was gone. like gone. But then Dawn Sherfy says, no, I wasn't even there. Dawn Wells lied. I even had my alibis. He gives a name of the places that alibied him at a completely different location, and that he states he gave all his alibis to TBI, and he states, Sherfy states, the alibis checked the heck out. Anybody else going, what the hell's going on? Right, Allison, what? So I've got it all for you. You can listen to it yourself. It comes out of their own mouths. This isn't hearsay. This is them talking. It's like, what in the actual world? Yes, he was a correctional officer. That's right, Felicity Woodruff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I forgot what he did there. So he's got alibis that put him in a completely different location at the time that Summer Wells went missing. But yet, in one interview with JLR and Betty Boop and them, okay, he says he heard the screams. How'd you hear the screams if you just got done telling TBI that you weren't there and that your alibis checked out, that you weren't anywhere near the property because you were over there being seen by that company? Something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong here. You can't hear the screams and be at a different property. And if you are cleared, how are you cleared? If Dawn Wells saw you, I'm betting other people saw you too. Like all of the boys and whoever we and us is that's with Dawn Wells. So how in the hell are you cleared and you're not there? But it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. Okay. First of all, let's talk about Dawn Wells. So, he made it in 20 minutes. I don't buy that either. I don't know how many of you do. That he made it from a 40-minute drive, he trimmed it in half. So you'd have to go 120 and not hit any traffic. That's bull. That's bull. Tree trimmers had seen Dawn between anywhere between 8 and 9 o'clock up there. I don't know how they saw him because, unless he came down on the hill and talked to him or something, I don't know. But you're not going to see up on top of the hill. Maybe saw a truck go by, something, I don't know. How do we know? But they say they saw Dawn Wells up there. All right. Now listen. Dawn Wells has made the claim that he was at work all day, right? Including that at around 5 o'clock or even a little after, that his own boss saw him with the red Subaru and was laughing that he drove that with tools in it to the drywall job in Jonesboro. Do you have to be at work all day for your boss to see you at 5 o'clock? No. We all learned when we were kids, like if you wanted to sneak out your bedroom window, you just need to be back by, 6 o'clock when your parents come to check on you. So, we have a post. Now, I don't have all of it, but I have the post. It's between Candace and a friend and her discussing when Dawn Wells actually got home. Now, if you look at this, you can see that this friend is being questioned, what time was Dawn home? Candace says, what time did you say? The friend says 3:30 or 4, but you didn't see him. I told that didn't come from you. Okay, says Candace. I'm sorry, says the friend. I was taking up for you. He's got people thinking that that you're this monster and you're not. And Candace says, I know, hon. So also we have Hunter stating, I believe that Don Wells was home. The boys were allegedly, according to whatever we've heard from wherever, with Don Wells at work. Bull crap. Bull the crap. Quit the crap, right? But let's say you didn't leave the house until 4 p.m. You only need to be back here at 6:30 p.m. So that's between 3:30 and 4 is when I believe that Don Wells took the Subaru and left. It had always confused me. Here's why. There was a accident of some kind in the morning with a red truck in the ditch out there at the end of Don Wells's property or driveway. Hold on a minute. He even took a picture of that said thing. And when he's taken the picture, which I couldn't find it, but I promise you it exists, he's in his white truck. He said he discovered this at the bottom of the driveway. This incident looked like I don't know what. Maybe that's when the four-wheeler went in the ditch. I don't know. It looked to me and everybody else, when he took the picture and you can see the mirror and you can see part of the truck, he's in the white truck leaving for work. But what if, let's say he started out the day a little bit late, and then when this happened down at the end of his driveway, he decided to hang around and, make sure this all got cleared up and his day just got away from him. So if that happened, he could have left later in the day, say around 4, made it to Jonesboro, and then back again. Plus, Summer pulled the vehicle at 3:09. Summer was getting videotaped. According to everything that we've researched, we've locked in. A lot of researchers did an amazing job with the milk video, where Summer is sitting in the back seat of Candace's truck, leaning up against 2 gallons of milk, the lighting, and then there's going by in that little 10-second clip or 15-second clip, there's landmarks, and they have figured out that would arrive, that picture was at 3:09 was the video, that they were about 2 minutes from home, maybe 3, and that this child would have arrived home in the vehicle with whoever's driving, which happened to be Candace, and whoever that is in the front seat at 3:11. But here's the problem with it all. At 3:30 p.m., Candace's, Donnie Wells, and Candace Bly Wells, their phones get wiped clean from 3:30 on. So the child arrives at 3:11, and within 18 minutes, all their phones are wiped. So I began to wonder, because Don says he's the first one there. You're going to hear that too. He's the first one there. He didn't say, other than family or anything. He's the first one there. Could he have been? So at some point, the swim got done back there at I know I'm all over, but keep up with me. At some point earlier in the day, they had been at the pond, right? The horse watering hole, Warrior Park. Could Candace have come home with Summer, Hunter, and Candace so that Candace could lay down Was Summer home? And did Candace just go with Hunter? You'd be like, well, no. Allie saw the baby Summer in the back. Well, she admitted that that was a lie. She never saw Summer. That was not true. Truth train coming through. So no, we have nothing that says that Summer was in that vehicle when she went to take Hunter home. We also never hear Allie nor Hunter nor anybody say that Grandis was with them when they took Hunter home. You never hear about Grandis, where she's at or what happened to her. I think it's because they went home first. And if that's true, then if they left Warrior Park and stopped at a couple little places and then headed home, got some groceries and all this, let's just say Hunter arrived at about 2:30, they guess. Let's push it back a half hour and say they actually dropped off Summer around 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And that it was just Candace and Hunter taking Hunter home. That it was Donnie with Summer. And that Grandis is asleep in the camper, her break-in bed camper. Because Ronnie Lawson allegedly talked to a woman that had worked with him for 27 years. She retired, and she was getting into all this online stuff. And he said to her, well, ask them online YouTubers to ask Candace where those missing 4 hours ago. Well, if Summer got dropped off at 2:30, earlier, and then 2:30 comes around, between 3, could that have been when something happened to Summer? Because Dawn Wells stated she wasn't even 30 feet from us. And again, us. So I found out through Allie's sister that the boys actually rode their motorbikes all over the property down there where the tree trimmers were in the shed. That was their normal place, one of their normal places to ride motorbike. Just keep that in mind, because they were always down there a lot. She was saying that that's one of their hangouts where they ride motorbikes. So that's where the kids played. That's where Don went. Why? Is it because he was already at the house, actually? So he didn't actually drive by the driveway. He came from the driveway. That would make sense why he'd go down there. If the boys came up to the house, done playing, and they got no Summer, which is what Dawn made this big deal about all the time. Always, over and over. Boys, where's your sister? Why'd you leave her out there? You got Candace saying things like, what if I did this right? What if I did that right? What if I walked her out there? Why is this important? Because if they're playing down on Beach Creek, that's a road, a major road, on a huge curve. Here comes an ambulance. Timing. And if the boys were taking their bikes and heading back on the road, that's what they do when they're done. They take Beach Creek Road to Ben Hill Road up the driveway, and that's where, and I promise you that this is true. So if the boys show up on their motorbikes, and remember at 6 something, we got that TikTok flash, one picture of Josie in his bike outfit, which was taken much earlier in the year, I believe, in April, but happened to be posted for just a few seconds during the whole time where, it's going to be in just a few minutes, Summer's going to be reported missing, and then the TikTok disappears. It's deleted. Doesn't mean the picture had to be taken that day. But it could mean that they were all about motorbiking at that time and was like, I'm going to post this picture, whatever. That would explain why Dawn Wells would come flying down there without Summer. So if Summer did get dropped off at around 1:30 or 2 o'clock at the house there, and Candace was taking Hunter home, leaving Donnie to watch Summer, and Donnie's all busy with whatever Donnie does. I don't know, Girls Gone Bad in the basement, something stupid, whatever he'd be doing. And the boys in Summer headed down there to play like they always do. They could play for a couple of hours down there. And when the boys come back, where's your sister, right? And that could be why Candace and Dawn, not that it's right, because it's all on them, 100%, not the boys' responsibility, especially, I mean, come on, these are boys that are busy on bikes most likely. So and I'm talking motorbikes, mean, not like bicycles. Bikes, like rev it up, yo, 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 baby. They're flying around, right? What a great place to ride your bikes. But you have to take Beach Creek to get home. Now all the tree trimmers and 3:30-ish, right? They're all heading too. They're taking Beach Creek out of there. Kids are Where's Summer? So Donnie goes down there to the she shed, right? Because if he's already on the mountaintop there where his house is at the top of the hill, where else would you look? Automatic, another ambulance. I'm sorry, you guys, I got to take a second. Lord, help whoever that is. Give them strength to survive whatever's going on. In Jesus' name, I pray these things. Amen. I've got to, because I'm in a little bitty town that could be my own kid out there. I don't know. All right. We get very few ambulances. So that would make sense why Dawn would bust a nut to get down there and make it well before there's any policemen, right? And then he allegedly sees Don Sherfy, who says, Don Sherfy says, I was never there. He also says, I don't even live here. I'm not even a neighbor. I live elsewhere. It's my girlfriend's mom's house. You got Don saying, well, he's not a friend, but he's the best neighbor I've got. Okay. Let's listen to Allie's sister talk about the boys on the bikes. If I can start it.
I got a family emergency. Bye.
What about that shed at the bottom of their hill?
You'll have to listen close.
So listen, someone's going to get you on
At the
Hunter.
bottom of the hill, I never been in that one.
The beach hill right there.
But
Where
if you go down the road a little bit,
And I
That's
said-
gotta be nerve-wracking for you guys.
that's where they used to ride the dirt bikes, the boys. And there's a garage there, and there was like old an old vehicle in there.
Okay, let's try this again. She's pointing as if she can see it.
Where they used to ride the dirt bikes, the boys.
So she basically has been asked, what about that shed? And she says, oh, the garage? If you go down the road and you turn in there, there's a garage and a clearing. And that's where the boys ride their dirt bikes all the time. She's not the only one that said this. Candace says the same thing to Chris McDonough. Says, yeah, if you go down that hill right there, you'll get where we have a little shed. That's where the boys ride their bikes all the time. Okay? Listen close to her.
Where they used to ride the dirt bikes, the boys. And there's a garage there, and there was like old an old vehicle in there. There was
And, so,
One more time.
Garage there, and there was like old, an old vehicle in there. There was a
and, so,
Okay? So there's no doubt, we have it from multiple people, that's where the kids rode their dirt bikes, is down there. That's the first place that Donnie went. We have an accident. What time is it? Yep, we have an ambulance now. We have fire trucks going out. We have a 5 alarm. Nope, 3 alarm. Okay. We just got a whole bunch of snow. We always have, accidents, and it's slick out today. Like, I had to drive somewhere and it's slick out. So I hope everybody is okay. All right, back into this. So that makes sense. If the boys had been playing down there, that is why Donnie would have went down there to look for Summer. If he had already been up the house, he would know. And if he had not been to work yet, he would know that Summer's not up there. That she was down at the shed with the boys, allegedly. Now this gets weird. This gets weird. We're going to listen, and this is when Don explains that it is indeed Don Sherfy that is his friend, right? His neighbor. But he also is like, and when I saw him, that's when I knew she was gone. Like, his heart sinks. What about seeing Don Sherfy? I mean, you've called, you've jumped in your truck, you've left work, Candace is hysterical. You're flying home like a mad demon, right? You've got 911 on the way, already talked. You're on the phone to your wife the whole time on Messenger because you can't find your kid. You should be in full-blown panic. But when you see your neighbor, that's that moment. That moment, he says, is when his heart sank because he knew she was gone. And then what if that neighbor later produces alibis and says, I was never there? Okay, listen. This is credit to the interview room with Chris Medina.
Now,
Was there a car at the bottom of your driveway when you pulled up? Like a
No.
cop car or anybody? You just pulled right
There
in?
was nobody there. I was the first one there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, stop.
Yep.
And
There was no one there. I was the only one. I think he's talking about at the house. There was no one there, I think. Because Chris McDonough is asking him, was there a police car at the end of your driveway? He's not talking about the end of Ben Hill. He's talking about the driveway of their house, which Dawn never went to. So if you didn't go there, how can you be the only one there? So that's why. Hold on just a minute. I got worried with all the ambulance activity, and I just heard my phone go bzz, bzz. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if it's one of my kids? Okay, it's all good. It's all good. All right. So if you're not up at the house, how would you even know if there was a police car up there? You've already called 911. So is your wife. Very well could be a police car up there because you didn't go up there. You didn't even look. You couldn't even see. But that isn't Dawn's response. Dawn says, no, I was the only one there. Where? at the house. So he's come down from the house. He hasn't even went to work yet, in theory. Work in theory, he hasn't went to work. Not work in theory, right? All right. He's going down there. He drives up. We turned here. Who the hell is we? Don't know. Sees his neighbor, right? Okay, so let's back it up and listen to where he tells you he was basically at the house. This is Don Wells telling us he was home.
Now,
Cops in and out.
was there a car at the bottom of your driveway when you pulled up? Like a
No.
cop car or anybody? You just pulled right
There
in?
was nobody there. I was the first one there.
Oh,
First
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what about when you got there, what was your first impression of where you should search first?
Well, that's why I drove down to the bottom, because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the bottom.
Yeah, is that the one where off the bottom of your property to the
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I got that little dirt road. I went past that. I went straight down that hill, straight to the creek, and that's when I seen my boys, and then I seen my neighbor Don.
That's when I seen my boys, right? And that's when I seen my neighbor, Don, who is Don Sherfy, who makes a claim, Don Sherfy makes a claim that he heard the screaming. He tells JLR that, but at the same time, he wasn't never there. He's got an alibi. He gave it to TBI and it checked out. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Don Sherfy, even though Sheriff Lawson and TBI has said no one is clear in the Summer Wells case. I repeat, no one is cleared. Yet Don Sherfy's going to tell you not only has he been cleared, but he believes they cleared his son too because, you know, they live together. What the hell? Okay, anyway.
I got that little dirt road. I went past that. I went straight down that hill, straight to the creek, and that's when I seen my boys, and then I seen my neighbor Don walking to the left side. The boys were on the other side of the hill, and I knew, like I say, I knew my.
Hold on, I think I'm really clear.
Yes. I got that little dirt road. I went past that. I went straight down that hill, straight to the creek, and that's when I seen my boys, and then I seen my neighbor Don walking to the left side. The boys were on the other side of the hill, and I knew, like I say, I knew my heart just sank.
I knew, and my heart just sank.
Right there, I just knew she was gone.
Okay, so he sees his neighbor, and he just knew right there that she was gone. Children belong to God. You said, and the boys were supposed to be all up in the living room playing video games. No, I believe they're out running around on their dirt bikes down there, and they have Summer with them. That's what I really do think. But listen to him again. Listen to him again. His heart sank. And that right there, seeing Don Sherfy, what he calls his neighbor, who allegedly was never there. Why would Don Wells name Don Sherfy when Don Sherfy is allegedly working for the sheriff's department or the police station? He would know better. There's just no way Don would lie about that. Not in my opinion. Why would you pull in a name from God knows where of a man that isn't even in the vicinity and make a whole story up from the get-go that when you saw him, that's when you knew right then and there that your daughter was gone? And then turn out that that neighbor was never there? What in the holy world is going on here?
Don walking to the left side, the boys were on the other side of the hill, and I knew,
Jesus is
like I
king.
say, I knew my heart just sank right there. I just knew she was gone.
What brought you to that place? place first and not to the house?
Well, I figured they was looking all over the house, but I was thinking, well, probably ain't been out buying property yet or anything, so that's what made me drive down there first.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And then, did you go into that shed?
No.
Is that,
well,
is that yours too, by the way, real fast?
Yeah.
Hey, Joey.
I did. I don't know if I checked it then or later, but I know I did go in there and look. But I'm not sure if it was right then or I might have parked and walked in there and looked real quick. I just don't remember. But once I knew she was gone, I went to the top of the house. Went up the driveway up there.
Well, so
Now, same interview was, hold on. I'm trying to find the one where he did the whole thing with Cher. Is it this one? No. No. I've lost the one with Cher. Okay. Well, then we'll just keep going. All right. So, let's talk about who Don Sherfy is. Let's have a little reprieve here, and then we'll get to where Don Sherfy is going to tell you he was never there.
A lot of people started digging into the next door neighbor, and what we uncovered was the next door neighbor, Donald Sherfy, has a son. He has a son, Donald Sherfy Jr., 28 years old, actually from Bluntville, Tennessee. May of 2021, right before Summer Wells went missing, Donald Sherfy Jr. was arrested for exploiting children over the internet. He was using his Snapchat and his Instagram to lure minors over the internet and to exchange pornography, child porn.
Okay, you guys, check this out. We have a red truck in here, right? There's a red truck. Where is it? Right there. Do you see that red truck right back here? Right back in here. Red truck. Red truck.
Donald Sherfy Jr. was arrested for exploiting children over the internet. He was using his Snapchat and his Instagram to lure minors over the internet and to exchange pornography, child porn, with individuals. He was arrested by the Sullivan County Sheriff Department. He was arrested. Summer Wells went missing. Interesting about Donald Sherfy that I just dug into. A few years ago, Donald Sherfy Jr., the man that was arrested for child pornography, worked as a correctional officer with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. He was a correctional officer a few years back. He worked for the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office for a few months. He also worked for the Mount Carmel Fire Department. He also served in the military. So, who is this Donald Sherfy? Is he involved in any way with the disappearance of Summer Wells?
Okay. So, he has a red truck. His child, who's an adult, is into CP, child corn, right? Corn. And I ain't talking the vegetable. And soliciting it. And they both live in Sullivan County. They're not even the neighbor. Is he spending, are they over there? Are him and his son over there? I don't know. But I want you to tell me by listening to this, if Don Sherfy out of his own mouth states that he heard the screams coming from that hill. Because it darn sure sounds like he's saying here that he did. And you'll also know that Don Sherfy is making sure you're aware that Don Wells accuses every single person, so it doesn't matter about who he accuses. Kind of like trying to discredit Don Wells. Oh yeah, he accused Fred Hill and Andy. He accused everybody over here. Yep, my son too. Yep. Okay, let's listen.
A lot of people.
So JLR is at Don, or I'm sorry, is down near the Ben Hill area, and he's driving around. He sees this guy out, and he's got Betty Boop and them with him, and they're all looking for summer wells and leaving dog food for the Wellses and so forth. When this man, Don Sherfy, is at this house. Now he's about to explain to you, he don't live there. He's visiting his girlfriend's mother. Must be the girlfriend too, right? Okay. But listen to all what he says.
She's having chest pains. This bullshit, it's done. We know what's going on. I have no doubt in my mind that they're involved in it.
God bless you.
But we're tired of it. Okay. Let the law do their thing.
Absolutely.
I'm ex-law enforcement. I know the guys that's working the case. Let them do their job. That's all I ask.
We respect that.
Come up over here. You've been over at the cemetery where my family's buried at. We're tired of it. Just get in your vehicles and leave. If not, I will call the law.
God bless you. They will.
Yep.
And I appreciate your opinion.
Right.
Thank you. Hopefully, we get answers.
You don't get no answers from me. Absolutely not.
Do you talk to them?
No. They're not allowed on our property. We don't go on theirs.
You live right there?
My grandmother, my mother.
Yeah. So they drove around.
He said, my mother lived, didn't he? Let's back it up.
I will call the law.
God bless you. They will.
Yep.
And I appreciate your opinion.
Right.
Thank you. Hopefully, we get answers.
You don't get no answers from me. Absolutely not.
Do you talk to them?
No. They're not allowed on our property. We don't go on theirs.
You live right there?
My grandmother, my mother.
Yeah. So they drove around.
His
No
mother
disrespect
lives there,
yesterday.
see?
They're
I
just.
just got through putting more cameras up. So
Yeah.
if anybody's up through there, you will be prosecuted if I can put a fight in.
No, they're not. They have no evil intent. Nothing like that.
It's time to leave.
They're just trying to find something.
But it's been almost 8 months now, 9 months. They've got leads. I know Ronnie Lawson. He's got leads.
I know Ronnie Lawson. So he's claiming that he knows Ronnie Lawson, and he knows more than anybody else that Ronnie Lawson's got leads. And he used to work as a correctional guy. And I've always wondered why Hawkins County seemed to drag their feet. Okay, let's continue. So he knows Ronnie Lawson, and he knows they've got leads.
Leslie Earhart from TBI, she's not going to release anything. So please, just go on, let them do their jobs. It's turned into another Evelyn, and we don't want that. So I ask you to leave. Very nice.
We're bringing some dog food and we're leaving.
Okay, so when he says it's turned into another Evelyn, so when Evelyn Boswell went missing, which was later to found out that Megan Boswell, her mother, has been charged with a crime and found guilty, that his son was accused in that case of Megan Boswell's daughter's death, Emily Boswell. Evelyn, sorry, not Emily, Evelyn Boswell's death. And he'll discuss it later when he's talking to PG too, on the phone. So that's already very concerning, that they've already looked at his son for the death of another child. Why would they? And then, okay, let's just
Yeah,
keep
they're
going.
just gonna leave dog food there and then they're gonna leave. You don't think of kidnapping?
No, I don't think she did.
Did anyone see?
No, I don't think kidnapping. Okay. I mean, you made it sound like that's ludicrous. It'd be one thing if you were Donald Sherfy and you knew damn well those kids didn't ever leave the hill. Because then kidnapping would be strange. But he tells us that these kids are all the time playing down on the road, including summer. So if they're playing on Beach Creek Road in the middle of the road, including summer, how does he know it's not a kidnapping?
Candace go back there that day, like in the holler.
None of us did.
Nowhere.
She said she drove like a bat out of hell out of here on the June.
My name's Jonathan, by the way. My name's Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Glad
you.
to meet
Thank
you.
you.
And
Thank you.
no ill intent.
Yeah, no ill intent.
But all it's gonna do is it's gonna create more problems up
He
here.
just shot something across.
Oh, hell, and he ain't afraid to shoot people.
Yeah.
We've had shootings up in here. That's why I'm armed. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know who's down here.
Yeah.
If he comes up and starts shooting, I will shoot back.
There's a
And
lot
if
of.
people live right up here and start shooting, I'll start shooting back.
Yeah.
So
So.
these two don't get along.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't blamed them yet.
Well, he has.
Oh, he has.
He's blamed everybody.
Is that Andy up there?
Who?
Andy, or is
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Is the woman?
Oh, she's gone. He run her off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys here. Have you ever like?
The lady that used to live up here, all she'd do was harass everybody. She come to the property up here, harassed us. I ended up drawing my gun on her,
Yeah.
told her to leave. I
Oh
wasn't putting
wow.
up with it.
Yeah. Exactly. So
But now, he has blamed Fred,
yes.
Yes.
and Fred done put the word out to him. You say my name again, and he'll kill him.
Yeah,
Fred
'cause
shot.
he-
He's making sure to discredit Dawn, which it's easy to do because he's not wrong. Donnie has accused everybody. And I'm not saying Dawn and Candace are clean. I'm not saying they're out of this. I'm saying this man is trying to make it seem like because others have been accused, you shouldn't listen to Dawn about anybody that he's concerned about. Even though his own son has 4 charges of solicitation of, oh yeah, what?
Other man right here in this room.
Yeah.
He's the one that I was talking to when he dropped his name.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know.
All right, well, we can
Yeah.
go.
We'll go on our way. Thank you for talking.
I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you coming out and dialogue. You know,
Listen
no-
close.
Threatened some people that she was going to shoot and blow their fucking head off.
I'll put it past her.
You wouldn't put it past
No.
her?
I mean, if everything's been going on, people's been blaming going on, it wouldn't surprise me for shoot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard screaming up there?
He says, yeah, yeah.
Hopefully Lawson does everything. All right, God bless. We're out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JLR says, oh, you heard screaming up there? And he says, yeah. So how'd you hear screaming? Because he's going to tell you in this phone call to PG that he's even cleared with TBI because his alibi's checked out, that he was never there. No, he don't live there, Pink Butterfly. That's his mom's house, right? Blue Solo Cope saw the children in the middle of the Beach Creek playing days before Summer went missing. I don't doubt that at all. Right, Mary Stevens, hello and welcome back, lovely. What is their connection with Paul, Randy Hill, and Bale? Well, and do you have to have a connection to Paul Hill? I mean, if you're driving along that route, it's his land, yeah, but it's open to the public in places too. Easy access. Could be Fred as the connection. And it may not be an abduction. I'm not saying it is. But how could you rule it out if your knowledge is that the kids have been alone on Beach Creek Road many, many times? How could you be like, nah, it's not an abduction? Anybody could have stopped a vehicle and picked up a little girl that's walking by herself, walking along that road. We don't know. Right, he's probably there more than his own house. Okay, so you heard him. You heard him say he heard a scream, right? Yep. JLR's like, you heard screaming up there? And he's like, yep. All right, let's get into this one. Here's the PG call. Now, let me give you a little preference. I did not speed this up. It was sped up by someone else. And I did not find the original, but this is a call between Don Sherfy and PG, where he says he was never there and that he's cleared by TBI, and so is his son. And that's all a lie, a big lie. TBI has not cleared anyone ever. So that's one lie. But then he also says that his alibi checked out, that he was never there. Yet this whole story from the beginning is Don Wells saying, when I saw my neighbor, Dawn, right? That's when I knew. My stomach sunk, my heart sunk, because I knew she was gone. That was the moment. All right, here you go. It's sped up. It's hard to hear, but I did my best. Okay.
Sharpie?
Yes, it is.
Is this junior or senior?
Senior?
Hi, sir. I'd like to ask you some questions about your son, Don Jr. I understand that the Wells, Donald and Candace Wells, are right now trying to throw him under the bus, saying that he had something to do with their daughter coming up missing. I would like to ask you, what do you think about that?
That's a crock of bull.
I think so, too.
That's what it is. I know it is.
Absolutely. And,
My son got in trouble. He made a mistake. And they're all going to say, well, he's done this, he's done that. And Evelyn Boswell lived close to him 8 minutes away when she went missing and was murdered.
that case has been solved. That case has been solved. The mother of that child did that.
Yeah, Megan done that. And
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
And they're trying to save my son.
So at this point, what Sherfy is saying, Don Sherfy is saying, is they've tried to point the finger at my son over this whole Megan Boswell thing. And that didn't go anywhere because he didn't do it. And now it's happening again, right?
Had something to do with that. Well, if he did, he'd be charged with murder or something.
If he did, he would be charged with murdering somebody.
Absolutely.
I have been questioned by the TBI, and they have cleared me.
I have talked to TBI, and they have cleared me.
And I would like to think that since my son's got the same name I do,
He does say, I would like to think that my son's got the same thing I did. In other words, he's suggesting that his son is also cleared, and he's not.
when they pull his boat up, they see the charges against him. They have not, they speak to him. They do not think he is involved with anything. He did what he did. And
I'm going to rewind it. They did not speak to
nothing to
him.
do with that. Well, if he did, he'd be charged with murder or something.
Absolutely.
I have been questioned by the TBI, and they have cleared me. And I would like to think that since my son's got the same name I do, when they pull his boat up, they see the charges against him. They have not, they speak to him. They do not think he is involved.
They did not speak to him. They do not think he was involved.
With anything. He did what he did, and he'll face the charges.
And then he says he did what he did, and he'll face the charges.
He'll get at the face what he did.
And he's talking about those 4 solicited charges.
As far as being involved with Megan or with some or either one, no.
Absolutely.
The Wells are trying to, in my personal opinion, trying to throw it off on somebody else, anybody, so they would take a look at, so people will be looking at them.
Amen.
So he's saying, in his personal opinion, that Don is trying to throw it all on somebody else rather than taking the blame. Which he could be right. He could be right, but...
And thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Well, and I'm sick of it. I mean, they've done YouTube videos about me, about my son, and I'm sick of it.
Does your son know Don or Candace Wells?
No, he has to live on over. The only person he knows over in the community is my girlfriend and her mom. And my son, last time he was over there was late 2020, early 2021. He helped my other son and my grandson, met us in Johnson City.
Okay. And so it's your girlfriend. It is your girlfriend that lives over there, like 2 minutes away, and her mother. It's your girlfriend and her mother that lives over there on Ben Hill Road. Okay, that's close. Okay.
You go up in the hill, you nice Don and Kansas.
Okay, that's close. Okay.
You go up in the hill, you nice Don and Kansas. That's my girlfriend and her mom live on.
Thank you. And that's why you were down there telling them to please quit with the blowhorns and carrying on, because you guys.
I mean, my girlfriend's mom is in her late 70s. She's got some medical problems. And all they do when they get down there and they bullhorn and protest, it echoes up and holler. And it gets on her nerves, and then she's a nervous wreck.
Absolutely, as older people
I
are.
went down there. They said I screamed at them. I went back and watched the video. Like I said, I'm former law enforcement. I've worked in 3 different departments. Plus being in the military. I got almost 18 years total.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
And I didn't scream at them. I done what we call, I used my jail voice. I was authoritative. I made my points. And then after I had to make my point, I was done. And then
I
didn't
totally
get
understand.
permission to video me. But they did it anyway.
Yeah, yes, they did. And so your son don't know Jody Sue. He wasn't up there down at the end of the driveway playing with Don Wells' sons on June the 15th or helping to search for someone.
No, yeah, that doesn't have to do with anything. Who they are.
Now, interesting enough, okay, so Don Wells had said that Don Sherfy Jr. had actually been hanging out while his dad was at the girlfriend's. So Don Sherfy Jr. had been hanging out with the boys at the end of the driveway or by the shed area. That's what Don said. Now, Don Sherfy, the father, says, no, he wasn't even there that day. But then he's going to tell you he wasn't there in just a minute, too. He's going to say that he has alibis that put him in another location and that he was never there. So the whole thing where Don gets out of his vehicle and sees Don Sherfy and he knew at that moment that Summer was gone never happened. If the man is lying and he really was there, which is what I believe, then I'll promise you it isn't a far-fetched idea to think that his son was there too. And that he's lying about both himself and his son being there. Let's continue to listen, because he's going to tell Prayer Garden he was never there. He's got alibis.
Well, are you aware that Don Wells is saying that your son was at the bottom of the driveway playing with his boys the day Summer came up missing?
No, I was not. I haven't heard that.
That's what they're saying right now.
Oh, I bet
and
you
did you hear
have.
that they said that he was hanging with Jody Sue that on June the 15th all the way up until late in the evening.
Who's Jody Sue?
Jody Sue and Andy, they're the neighbors that live across the street from the...
He knows damn well who Jody Sue is. He just got done telling JLR and Betty Boop that he ran off Andy's girl, right? Had to pull a gun on her because she was all nosy in their property. He knows who Jody Sue is. But right now, he can't remember who Jody Sue is. Okay.
Wells.
Oh, that's what across. Well, you don't know them either.
And that's...
They're looking on that hill over there.
Yes.
This is the place that caused a ruckus. They got the whole neighborhood up in an uproar. Don and Candace are both liars. Don Wells made a statement that he taught his children not to leave his property, and that's a crock of bull because we've been in there many times, had to stop in the middle of the road so they could get out of the road while they've been playing in the road. And that includes Summer, which is when we've seen her before she went missing. They ride their dirt bikes up down the...
He says, let's back it up. He says, well, they got Don and Candace are liars. They've got the whole neighborhood in an uproar. That Don said he taught his children to never leave their property, that that's a crock of shit, because, a crock of bull, because they've been in the road and riding their dirt bikes on the main road along with, and he names Summer, on the road, and they've seen it many times.
My girlfriend's neighbor's property, we had to notify them. I mean, they think they own the whole place up to her. Don made a comment that his mother owned all the property and she sold it, which is a lie. She didn't own the property. Her husband owned the property, which was my girlfriend's mom's cousin, I think. And
My
Don
girlfriend's
Wells' mom
mom's
didn't sell all
cousin.
that was all bought long before she ever lived over there.
Oh, I did not know that. Why, thank you. Oh, wow.
They aggravated me to get under my skin, and I am fed up with it.
Oh,
I have contacted my TBI agent that I spoke with, and I want to get in touch with him again.
I've contacted the TBI agent that I spoke with again, and I want to get with him again.
And I'm going to see if there's any charges that I can file against Don and Candace. It ain't bad.
And I'm going to see if that's any charges that I filed against Don and Candace.
So I'll go and file against those YouTubers who keep coming over.
And file against the
Leave
YouTubers.
me alone, leave my girlfriend and her mom alone, and leave my son alone. Because I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with, but if you twist me too hard and I start snapping, and I'm going to go off with somebody. And I'm afraid I'll hurt somebody. Because I do
He's afraid he'll hurt someone.
not like the fact that people, you can talk about me all you want to. You leave my kids out of it. They had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you being in law enforcement and so forth and military, why would they even believe that you had anything to do with anything? Was it just...
You were in the military and you were in law enforcement, so why would they ever think that you had anything to do with it? Really?
Because you reside up there on that road?
I don't even
So you reside up there on that road?
live over there.
I don't even live up there.
I just visit my girlfriend on the weekend. I live in another community.
Right.
I live in another
so
community.
Basically, they just questioned you because you were in the area.
Basically, they questioned you because you were in the area.
Yes, Don Wells made a statement that I was at the bottom of the hill searching for something.
Don Wells made a statement. I'm just going to get over here so you can read this. Let me make it much bigger. Don Wells made a statement that I was at the bottom of the hill searching for Summer when he come home.
And over Maryland on the 15th, and I was in Grove Port, Iowa on the 16th. I drive a tractor trailer for a living. TBI questioned me about it.
I dropped the trailer for a living. TBI questioned me about it.
Gave them an alibi. They checked it out with my previous lawyer.
I gave them my alibi. They checked it out with my previous lawyer. He said employer. They verified it on my computer where we had computer tracking in our trucks. And he told me that I was clear. No
and your son, they're
problem.
trying to say that your son's home has been recently, they got a warrant, went in and checked his home and invaded him. Is there any truth to that?
Okay? So he's saying they checked the computer on his truck and he was nowhere near that area. That Don Wells lied. That he has an alibi. That he wasn't at the bottom of the hill. Let's listen to that one more time again. Let me find where it starts. Okay, it starts with PG saying, and you were in the area. Basically, they questioned you because you were in the area. Listen close.
You, because you were in the area.
Yes, Don Wells made a statement that I was at the bottom of the hill searching for summer when he came home, which was a lie. I was in...
Which was a lie.
Maryland on the 5th.
He says, and I know it says July on there. He says, Don Wells made a statement. Don Wells made the statement that I
Bottom of the hill searching for summer when he
was at the bottom of the hill searching for summer
came home, which was a lie.
when he came home, which was a lie.
I was in Andover, Maryland on the
I was in somewhere over Maryland
15th, and I was in Grove,
on the 15th, and I was in the Grove for a while on the 16th. I dropped the trailer for a living.
TBI questioned me about it. I gave them my
TBI questioned me about it.
alibi. They checked it out with my previous lawyer.
I gave them my alibi. They checked it out with my previous
They
employer.
verified where I was at my computer.
And they verified I was at my computer where we had a computer tracking our trucks. He told me
God bless
that
you.
I was clear,
And your son, they're
no
trying to say that your son's
problem.
home has been recently, they got a warrant, went in and checked his home and invaded him. Is there any truth to that at all?
No, my son lives with me. He used to live with his mother. They have never served a warrant on my place. They're going to come in on me. They're going to come in on him. He knows if the law comes up that he has to cooperate with them as part of his bond agreement.
Absolutely.
So, no.
As his bond agreement. He was out on bond at the time that Summer went missing. Dawn had said that Sheriff Jr. is down there playing with the boys. Y'all. St. Francis, I heard it on one channel. I have not heard it from anybody else yet. That Don and Candace are on the lam and running from the law. I know they've been silent, but I haven't heard that they're running from TBI or that there is any arrest or anything, so I'm not sure. Can you please not use cap? Because I can't read cap and neither can a lot of us, sweetie. Okay? So Don Sherfy is saying that he has an airtight alibi showing him on a computer and not even on that in that county. On the 15th when Summer goes missing. That he was in the county on the 16th only. However, he did say to JLR he heard the screams that day. Yep, he heard the screams. How's that work? And why would Don make it up about him? Why Don Sherfy? Why say that Don... Okay, there's a lot of ways to go here. If Don Sherfy and Junior weren't there for real, they really weren't there, then was it another person? Was it Randy Hill and not Don Sherfy? And that's who he saw? Who is this neighbor that Don allegedly saw? Because he says it was Don. And Don Sherfy's... And he says it was Don Sherfy. TBI even questioned Don Sherfy about it. And Don Sherfy's like, nope, I wasn't there. I've got an alibi. You can check it out with my previous employer. And I was on computer. I wasn't even in the area. Yet, how could he have heard the screams, y'all? Something's very, very, very wrong here. You feel me? Yes, Bellanova. How exactly could he have heard the screams? That's why I'm on here. I'm like, okay, I can't solve this one on my own. I've gotta get it out there. And no, I don't want to dig into the Sherfy crap. But that's a big, big problem. Houston, we have a problem here. Why would you lie about where you were if you really were down there and you were just simply searching for Summer? Excuse me? And you got pulled with Ronnie Lawson? And you work for the department and your son's facing all these criminal charges? You think he protests too much? Uh-huh. Anybody could be using that computer. That's right. Supersonic hearing. Okay, Pink Butterfly says he could be on the computer at the house. That's why I said, I don't believe 90% of what Don says. But when he said it the way he did, there's something about it that I believe Don did see Don Sherfy. And if Don Sherfy is that adamant about lying, allegedly lying, saying he wasn't there, if it turns out that he is lying and he was there, then what do you want to bet so was his son?
Now, cops in and out.
Was there a car at the bottom of your driveway when you pulled up? Like a cop car or anybody? You just pulled right in?
There was nobody there. I was the first one there.
No one was there. I was the first one there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what about when you got there, what was your first impression of where you should search first?
Well, that's why I drove down to the bottom, because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the...
Would you call it the bottom if you were on the same level already? I drove straight down to the bottom. Why did you drive to the bottom? Because you were at the top, Don Wells. You were already at your damn house. You don't drive to the bottom of the same level you're on. There is no bottom. You would drive directly to the shed. You would not drive straight to the bottom to get to the damn shed if you're on that road. You're going to drive to the bottom when you're sitting your ass up there watching something on TV, you know, Girls Gone Wild shit, and you have to go down the hill. That's when you're going to drive to the bottom and go straight to the shed because you were at your house, Don Wells, and we all know it. Aw, Allison, thank you. This would be a great time. Hit the like button, please, please, please. We YouTubers need all the help we can get. We've got to compete with AI that's telling y'all all kinds of crazy things. And the whole system of YouTube has gotten whack out there. I'm just telling you, if it weren't for my shop, my 1111dex.com, paying my bills, I would not be able to do this on YouTube because we don't get paid anymore, really. I'm talking very, very little. Not enough to even pay my rent for an entire month on YouTube. And I've been here a while. Never seen it this bad in my life. But we're still getting massive views. It's just we don't get paid for them anymore. So, you know, hitting the like button does help. Bella says this does sound incredible. I'm just saying there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack. Because why is he lying and saying he wasn't there? Or the other way around, why would Don Wells just grab Don Sherfy's name out of a stack of millions and be like, yep, he's the one I saw. And when I saw him, my heart plummeted. Broke my heart. I knew she was gone. It's wild. Vicki Garrett, hello, lovely. Good to see you. All right, my lovelies, this is what I have for you today. Ran over quite a bit. I'm supposed to be doing something on my other channels, so I'll jump on there. We're going to be about a half hour late. We still have to do what we got to do here first, right? That comes first. I love you very much. I appreciate your time. There's a lot to unpack. This means something to me. In fact, there's something very, very wrong with this. Very wrong with this. I'll leave it in your good hands. I love you to the moon and back. I will see you again soon. Thanks for all the likes. Thank you for subscribing. And, oh yeah, I'll tie your shoes for a week if you hype me up. Say a prayer for little Summer Wells as well as Jack and Lily Sullivan. I still think of them every day. Every day. And Sebastian Rogers too. There's information in the Sebastian Rogers case that's coming out, so that's interesting. I might do something on that soon. But in the meantime, I'm heading over to Crime Story Mama. If that is your thing, I will meet you there. Love you to the moon and back. And by the way, I've got a heck of a good deal. I think it's 15% off everything and anything in the shop right now. It's going to end though at the end tonight. I think it's midnight tonight. The sale's over. So make sure to check it out over at 1111dex.com, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you, my lovely.